Rager, you want to give me a 5-second countdown? And for you, those of you who are listening, he just signaled that with his hand. And that signals the start of the show. Welcome to Twin Cities Double Up, a podcast so nice you want to listen to it twice. I'm your host, Mr. Brock. With me today is Jason, the creator of chaos, Rage.
How's it going, Brock? Thanks for having me, first of all.
Super stoked to have you again. We had you on Coal Mine, but as everyone knows, Coal Mine's dead and we hate it, correct?
Those words can be used.
Yeah, they were. And that's an endorsement, an official endorsement from Jason Rage saying Coal Mine is dead and we all hate Coal Mine. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate you coming on the show for that. Just to say that. No, I'm kidding. We had to bring Jason back on because last time we had you back on, I think it was all the way back in April. You were a different man. I mean, you have evolved so much since then. I'd say even not just a character, physically. I mean, seriously, if you go back and look at that footage, man, you put on a little muscle.
I appreciate that, man. It's very much. I had this conversation with one of my fellow wrestler friends in the business in a show in Wisconsin, and I told him, I said,
and who was that?
That was Ethan Matthews, actually.
Shout out to Ethan Matthews.
And I told him, I said, yeah, literally, there was one day where I woke up and decided to give a shit.
Seriously? Oh, and your proof, right, of what happens when you do that.
Yeah, I don't feel the need to like constantly tell people the work that I'm putting in. I just going to show them, you know.
That's how it should be, right? With anything, with any true mark of success, you shouldn't be the one advertising it. I don't know if I've ever met a nice guy who's told me they're a nice guy, right? They've screwed me over. Don't worry, I'm a nice guy. Yeah, right. Yeah. So again, I want to go back to let's track. I don't know where I want to start with you. I want to go back to your career, but No, I'm going all the way back, people. Rager, we're going to start at the beginning. All the way back. And we're going to do a deep dive on Jason Rage today. Rager.
Inside the mind of a psychopath.
Seriously. Right? Well, we did that. It was called Coal Mine. Anywho, Rager, question number one. Actually, I'll give us a little music. Question one. When was the first time you remember watching a wrestling match?
That's actually a very clear question for me. Like, I don't. Some people have like a hard time remembering when was the first, but I specifically remember. I was actually just at my grandparents' house, and I was just eating dinner, and my grandma was just scrolling on the TV, seeing what was on TV, and actually seen Jeff Hardy in a match. I'm not sure it was who was against or anything, because it was just for a split second, and we just quickly clicked off of it. But I was like, I'm intrigued and I want more.
Was he all painted up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He definitely would draw some attention there from a kid. How old were you?
I think I was 6 or 7 at this point. So like first, second grade.
Okay. So now we got 6 or 7-year-old little Jason running around. Gears are turning. You thinking, hey, I'm going to watch some more wrestling? Are you thinking at this point, maybe I'll join someday?
No, I didn't have that thought till later, but I was an avid wrestling fan. For quite a while. It's up until I basically decided I want to do this. But yeah, I was a big wrestling fan, you know.
Sure. And what were some moments in wrestling growing up that really stood out to you? Like, what did you get to witness? What era were you watching?
I kind of caught the tail end of the Ruthless Aggression era, and then like I don't remember the name of the era after the Ruthless Aggression, but kind of like the 2009, 10, 11 era.
Sure.
So, like, another thing, too, is, like, I was such a wrestling fan, but my exposure to wrestling was, like, super limited.
Sure.
I didn't have, like, access to, like, watch all the pay-per-views or anything like that, or I didn't really have any of the games when I was, like, super young either. I just had briefly seen wrestling, and I knew I liked it.
Sure.
I was, like, intrigued to, like, dive more into it because I didn't have much access to it, you know?
Okay. So what other things were you into when you were in high school and growing up?
No, literally wrestling was like controlled my life. Like,
okay.
I liked other things too. Like I played football and I raced motocross my whole life too.
Okay.
But like those are not nearly as interesting in my life and a part of the stories that I've had with wrestling versus those stories with other things that I dived into, which was there was a lot of things, but yeah, no, nothing was
So Rage graduates high school. What do you do next?
Well, my original plan was to go to college, and I wanted really badly to play college football. But I was kind of stopped by the COVID pandemic of 2020, as we all know and familiar with. So I chose the decision not to do online school at all because I didn't want to jeopardize my future with that. So I basically just held off with going to college, and I went to wrestling school when the academy opened back up. And that's kind of what I tell people is like my secondary education or higher education was, yeah, I went to wrestling school.
Well, it's called the academy. You could sneak that into a conversation. Most people probably wouldn't even know you're not talking about college.
The problem is I sneak it into too many conversations that I have. It's too much a part of me sometimes.
There's not much of a rebuttal when they ask which one, right?
No, exactly.
Ken Anderson's. Well, speaking of which, that's a really cool thing. You just said you came into wrestling at the end of the Ruthless Aggression era, right? And that was Mr. Kennedy's era, essentially, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that was when he was really peaking in WWE.
Oh yeah,
right.
Definitely.
Yeah, he was big into that. So now, I mean, he's your coach. What is that like?
It's been like extremely special for me to like have him as a coach, and especially like I'm just talking about like Ken Anderson the person. I'm extremely blessed to just know him personally. But the fact that he also wrestled in WWE and was very successful in, the highest level of professional wrestling is like that much more. So I think of him more as a person than I do like the character of Ken Anderson. Sure. But
I mean to raise yourself to the status of McMahon's goon, I feel like is one of the highest levels you can get up to in WWE, right? Mm-hmm. And that was cool to watch him do that. And yeah, I mean he won a belt, right? I mean he was a great character to watch. So I've talked a little bit on the podcast, and I've got to see you at the academy, kind of getting my feet wet right now in the training, and my limited exposure with him has been very positive. I think he's a great coach. I think he really emphasizes the basics, which is the coolest part about that, right? It's really let's stick to the basics, which is why I had to slow down because I need to learn that crap. But starting back up in December, I'm excited. I love getting to go out there and train with you guys. Another cool thing that I got to do a plug for the academy is how all of you guys in the advanced class are coming down to the beginner classes, and you guys are there every week. I mean, we get to wrestle with the guys that we're watching on the weekends. You're coming out and training us. That was the coolest part of the academy. I don't know if most are run like that. I kind of assume they have to be, right, in order to be productive. So how long have now you been at the academy? You said you started COVID, correct?
Yeah, I started in March 2022, right when the academy reopened from the pandemic.
And where was it then? Was it in this, like the St. Paul Arena? Was that when you first did your training?
No, it was actually an Element Gym in St. Paul.
Okay, and then it moved to that arena.
Yep.
For a while, right? So you were training there. Now we're in St. Paul for the permanent home, essentially, right? I think that's the goal, St. Paul. The quick plug for the academy. I think they're taking beginners right now for the December classes. I think I'm starting with that again. I got to reach back out. I did take a little diet and exercise serious last month, so I was able to cut some pounds. I think I'm ready to get my roll on. I had a little scare a couple of times with crunching some shoulders, but I think I'm back. All right, so we got Rager. You go to the academy. I've never asked this. What was your first match?
My first pro match or first match in the academy?
First match. Well, what's the difference? Why don't you explain that?
Well, training matches are different. You're not working in front of like an authentic crowd.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. So an authentic. There's just a presence. There's a presence of a pro show versus training matches. Like,
okay.
Like you can practice. The game of football. The most that you possibly can. Mm-hmm. You can practice and do everything, but there's nothing like actually being in your first game.
100%. Oh, 100%.
So it's the same.
So you did a training match. Who'd you wrestle?
My very first training match was actually. Unofficially, it was Matt Honey.
Okay.
So we were just more or less goofing around, and he kind of coached me through a full 7-step match.
Wow.
And it was like I didn't really realize till afterwards. I was like, oh, we just pretty much had a full match versus me just thinking that we were just kind of training each of the steps. So that was like my first ever like academy match that I had. So
Great. Let's take one step forward then. Your first live pro in front of the fans match. Where was this guy?
that was in River Falls days for MAW against Nick Pride.
Nick Pride.
Mhm.
Oh,
We were just talking about him.
I know we were big Nick Pride fans over here. Great
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
Very cool guy. Big fan. Been super fun to watch. He's got a great career ahead of him. First match was with Nick Pride.
Yeah, it was.
Gosh, I just feel like I got in at the right time with the people that I've gotten to associate with, because you guys have been so much fun, and I'm just more excited to hear that was your first match. And now I want to transition. Okay, we've seen you wrestle a bit. My first match was watching you wrestle X, right? I didn't realize how big X was actually at that point. That was a big match.
Oh, the one in March this year?
Gosh, at the world's smallest gymnasium. But it was packed. It was a good, I mean, it looked big. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a fun match and kind of, yeah, I remember having, yeah, X is a good guy to work with. You know, I think like, you know, as far as like in-ring ability and as far as like his character work and everything, like it's fun always working with him and being able to have a match with him. So
sure, and something that I think always surprises me when you see a guy like X is, and I'm no expert, but I think sometimes when you see people a little more on the makeup, the showy aspect, or they're emphasizing that, you sometimes see they're overcompensating for their talent in the ring, right? At times, I know, and that's totally my plan. When I get into it, I'm well aware of that. X is a guy who you expect that, but then all of a sudden you watch him, and you're like, oh man, he's a brick house. Like I can move, and that was the fun part about watching you two together, because it was two dudes that I'm like, yeah, they'll be all right. But you were throwing each other around, and that was a lot of weight for both of you to be just tossing, and it was incredible. You were making each other look like rag dolls, and I think you won that. Didn't you win that match?
No, he won that.
He did take that. Okay, sorry. He bit your head. I remember that. That was very memorable.
He bit my mohawk.
He bit your mohawk. You had that big mohawk, and he took a good bite out of that. Yeah, that was something. That was a fun match. Okay, and then we're going to continue to progress. You won your first belt this year.
Yes, I did.
Tell me about that.
Unfortunately, it was short-lived. I've already lost the belt.
So no.
But,
you won your first belt, dude. That's huge.
No, that was very, very special night for me. So I had actually 3 matches that day, technically.
Wow.
Me and another one of my good buddies, Salem Lasher, were on the way from a show in Pembine, Wisconsin. So all the way up by the Upper Peninsula, Michigan.
Oh wow.
And we were doing that show earlier in the day, and then we had to make our way back to Eau Claire for showtime. And I actually got there 10 minutes before my match started. I literally had only 10 minutes to prepare for my match that I had with Rad Lightning, and then it turned into another match against Brock Hall. So
wow.
Yeah, I just had my hands full that night.
Well, it paid off, right?
Absolutely.
What was I mean, that's a moment when you get your first belt, I imagine.
It is, and like I built it up in my head to be one thing, and to be honest, it was like quite a bit different. Like
sure.
I think I was like my memories of like my accomplishments and like how much I've had to like overcome and train, like it went so much more in the past. It went so much more like into my younger years, like all my memories. I'm like, wow, I finally like made it. Like, that was my version of like, you know, kind of hitting a big milestone. So, and
you usually have, I mean, you kind of have a loyal fan base around you coming to these shows. Are any of those people like from your childhood that are now watching you do that?
No,
okay.
Honestly, like
it's a new family.
The different phases of my life, I've known quite a bit different people, and like there wasn't many people that stayed between each phase of my life, to be honest with
I can
you.
relate.
So I've
I got a couple,
always evolved with different friendships and whatnot.
Cool. Well, speaking of belts, we got something big coming up. One of the reasons I wanted you on the show, right? December 6th. What are we looking at?
That's right. We're looking at my next show upcoming here next Friday. It'll be Northern Lights Wrestling in St. Paul. We got big matchup coming. We got me, of course, facing off against Shay Diesel and Pork Chop for the Northern Lights Wrestling Heavyweight Championship.
And Shay currently has it, correct?
Yes, he does.
Okay. And the interesting thing is, you two have been teaming up for a while as Rage Fuel, correct? Rage Fuel. What's the status of that tag team going into this match?
Friendships are lost when the bell rings. Let me tell you that. So
Okay.
I love Shaded Death. I really do. One of my favorite guys to be in the ring with, and that's very much true. Ask anybody about that. I'll put Shay over all the time about that, but I will punch him in the face to get that belt. I will. I seriously will.
That's a lot of face to punch too. Shay's been kind of
with
a
smile
menace
on my
this year.
face. With a smile on my face.
There is a big smile, people. I'm glad we got footage of this. You are the creator of chaos.
The same face I'm making right now is the same face I'm going to bite Shay Diesel with.
Unbelievable. I love this. I love this. And for those of you who don't believe it, I hope we have footage soon. I forgot to talk about this, of the match we got to watch last Sunday at Doghouse. I'm going to go right ahead and saying I am a Money Miguel fan, so this means a lot. You guys really stole the show. Really stole the show at that one with your guys' hardcore match. And was that the first one Doghouse has done? Have they done a hardcore match before?
I believe they have done a hardcore match.
Well, if they did, none others mattered until that one. Let's make that clear. Truly. When Icarus busted out the thumbtacks, the whole arena cringed in one solid as we all awaited.
I hope that match made every fan very uncomfortable. I hope they went home with nightmares.
I mean, could you describe what it was like to have a mouthful of thumbtacks as his knee hit your jaw?
It's like my favorite cereal, to be honest with you.
Oh my gosh, you are psychotic, and I love it. I love it. I got to do some commenting, and that was what we kept joking. I said, I don't know what they like more, hitting or getting hit. So two of you were just going at it in the ring, and the barbed wire to the head. That was fun, huh? Did you bring the crutch out, or was that him?
No, he brought the crutch out. He knew exactly what he was getting into.
Yeah.
He's trying to touch my emotional strings by bringing out the crutch that we've used in matches before.
Well, that's a crazy thing, because you two came up together. I mean, at one point you were best friends. You walked out wearing his shirt, right?
And that's exactly it. It's once the bell rings, I'm a selfish person. I'm going to do what I got to do.
Well, was it necessary to throw the shirt in his wife's face?
Absolutely, it was necessary. There was only one way that I seen. There was only one way that computed in my mind to make sense.
I'm looking for that scar from where that ring clocked you. Is that it?
Right
Yep,
here.
I saw that bad boy. Yeah, he split you open real good on that one.
Yep. He only made me happy. He didn't know that I like the taste of my own blood.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so what are we looking forward to the future? Are we getting a rematch?
If he's not too scared to get in the ring with me, I'll fight anybody.
Whoa, I like the sound of that. Well, we might have Icarus on the show soon, so maybe I'll see what he thinks about that. Fan some flames there. He's got a big show coming up too. I think he's in contention now for Ironheart's title, which currently is being held by the no good, dirty piece of human garbage, Aaron Arsenal. So I think I wouldn't mind seeing Icarus take that one out of his hands. How about you? Would you support that if he does get it? Or would you be standing in the back with a finger up?
I would support that, then I could challenge him for the title and beat his ass.
Oh my gosh, a hardcore match at Ironheart for that belt. Yikes! Could we afford it? No. But we'll make it happen. All right, Rager. Now that we know you, let's get a little deeper. We haven't done questions in a long time, but I'm excited to get into the mind of a true psychopath. Cole just played one on TV. Let's see what goes on in the mind of Jason Rage. Which piece of land would you preserve forever? Come on, psycho, get weird.
Skip question.
I think this is the wrong pile. I said organize these things, but I think I grabbed the not pile.
You
Skip
can't
that one.
ask me normal questions.
I didn't. No, sorry. What's your favorite quotation?
I'm not sure.
Ranger. Okay, hold on. I forgot. What would you love to find at a yard sale?
Human skulls.
There we go. Come on, we got one out of you. All right. Oh, here we go. I know you're going to give me a good one on this. What are your simple pleasures?
Kindness.
All right. If you decided to go on a spiritual journey, where would you go and what would you do?
Define spiritual.
A walk in the netherworld. I don't know how to define spiritual. Where would you go to find yourself, Rage?
Are you looking for a physical place?
Where does the Rager go to think about butterflies?
The Monster Truck Arena.
All right. Okay, we got something. All right. If you could give all human beings one virtue, which would you choose?
The virtue of kindness. No, but I'm serious. Like I like seriously like.
Hey Ranger, can we make some creator of kindness shirts?
That has been a quote that has been floated around throughout my wrestling career. That's the truth. That's the truth right there. People have called me the creator of kindness.
Are you kidding me? I love it.
No, I'm being serious.
That's unbelievable. Oh, you're stealing the show. Let's keep going. Which historical sporting event would you like to witness?
I don't know. I'd like to go back to the, was it 2009 or 2010 NFC Championship game? Minnesota Vikings versus the Saints. I think that'd be a fun one to watch. If I could, some which way, shape, or form, change the destiny there on that one.
You can.
Maybe I would have.
I'll jump out into the field. All right, good answer. I didn't expect you to go sports. Which historical time period would you most like to visit?
Honestly, the 90s, because I feel like a lot of people in my life have said that a lot of my interests are people, or like an interest of people that had in the 90s. So
I'm so glad you said something about that, because when we were tracking your history, and I asked when you got out of, what would you do after college or out of high school, and you went right into COVID, I forgot how young you are. How old are you?
I actually just turned 23 a couple days ago.
Right? I thought you were like 35. Like, no, really. I don't know why.
It's the scars. It's just the facial, you know.
Because I'm trying to think. You do kind of have a baby face, but maybe it's beard. I don't know. Maybe you just carry yourself well. Well, that is kind of crazy.
I'm more mature than a lot of people, despite my antics.
But I also think it is because just chatting with you, it's like, yeah, you do kind of have that 90s vibe. So that's why I was circling back to when you said that. That's like I felt like you were a guy I hung out with in the past. Like we could have got along. But you must just be an old soul.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what you get a lot? Good old.
I do, yeah.
A creator of kindness. Old soul creator of kindness. I like that. I'm taking it. If money were no object, what kind of party would you throw?
Call me a nerd, but I would throw like a Nintendo-themed Super Mario Party.
Just no, I mean it's nerdy, but that'd be fun. Like,
yeah, I think because like I really like the characters from that game a lot, and they always stuck out with me when I was a kid. So like, I don't know, something like that. I think that would be kind of cool.
Dude, that'd be fun. Like, you have to do. There's so many characters you could do. Like Dry Bones. Like,
and I played all the Nintendo games when I was growing up too. So
you could get some D-list characters in there. I kind of like it right here. I think we should throw a Mario Party.
Mario Party, yeah.
You know, it'd be really cool if all the wrestlers strapped up in the ring did a Super Smash Bros. Thing, right?
In a dream world. Jason Rage runs a show that is themed like that.
Hey,
that would be the dream.
Bully Brand and Twin Cities Double Ups. One mission in life is to someday open our fantasy factory, just like Rob Dyrdek had, where we're going to have stuff like that happening all the time. Ring in there, just all the wrestlers coming in and out, training, goofing around, throwing on Mario suits. I haven't ran this by anyone, but we're working on it. Big moves are making. Quick shout out to Bully Brand, the number one sponsor of this show. Bully Brand, number one show for bullies, or number one clothes for bullies everywhere. They will be hosting a tattoo convention I want to give a quick plug for in Danbury, Wisconsin. Ink Fusion Expo. Danbury, Wisconsin, March 21st through 23rd. Be there. We already have vendors filling up. We hosted the first one back in September. It was a smash hit. A lot of people are returning. It's going to be even bigger this year. So please get your tickets now. Actually, you don't need tickets. I think it's free. Vendors, get your booths now. And everybody else, clear your schedule. Make sure you get out there March 21st through 23rd in Danbury, Wisconsin. Twin Cities Double Up will be out there. It'll be a good time. Now back to you, Rager. Rager, after your next match, when again, I'm going to call it right now. I'm in the crowd. I'm watching. Rager has that belt over his head. Diesel laying on the ground, most likely unconscious, possibly crying. Pork chop's nowhere to be seen. He's been out since, I don't know, seconds into the match. I don't know what happened there. Rage is now the champ. What's your next move?
Defend the title.
Defend the title. Are you looking for that next match immediately? Are you saying come at me tomorrow? Yeah, I love this. Oh, I love this.
I like violence. I like problems.
God, can we get a street? Would you do a street match for the title?
I would do any kind of match.
I think we should do a street match with you. How sick would that be?
As long as I can hit somebody with my car.
All right. Well,
you said street match.
That's right. Do you got a good lawyer?
I don't need a lawyer. I'm Jason Rage, man.
Yeah, baby. Creator of chaos. Oh, what a good call there. So, Rager, you're going to be walking down the road. You're going to be walking out of that ring with the belt. Do you have another match after that?
Yes, I do. The very next day, actually, in Silver Lake, Minnesota, for MIW.
Okay, December 7th, we got Silver Lake, Minnesota, MIW. You're going to be there. And then what's the rest of the season look like? Do you get a little break?
After this, that next weekend, then I got, on the 14th, I got MIW in Chanhassen, and then I got a little bit of a break. So
a little bit of break, and then we're
off, and a little bit of January as well. Then start things back up.
So next year, what are we looking at for you? Okay, are we looking at more progression? What are we working on? Are we bulking up?
You're going to continue to see me give a shit, and you're going to see me do some crazy things.
I mean, I would like to go to that because I've seen, and I've known you 6 months now. To see a body transform like that in 6 months is very impressive. And I think it's something that would you please tell people what you've done? Other than, I mean, you have to go a little further than give a shit. Like, what specifically? Diet and exercise have to be involved, I assume, correct? So give me a Rage routine throughout the week for how you got into shape like this.
I'll give you the routine of giving a shit.
I love this. The give a shit routine.
Yeah, no.
Should we market this? I like this, Rage. Let's go with this. The give a shit routine.
Give a shit routine.
Okay, we'll talk about that later.
Give a shit. No.
The give a shit routine.
No, quite honestly, like the specifics of it is like breaking down, diet and exercise, of course, is number one. And then, consistency of those two things, right? So, and then to me, like with the diet part, it's like making substitutions along with cutting some things out. So trying to cut out carbohydrates and sources of carbohydrates, only have like a little bit of day. And then just making substitutions from like, full sugar, full fat, full calorie stuff to the diet versions of them. So that was kind of a big thing for me. And then the other things of like, obviously I watch pro wrestling all the time and I look at the guys who are at the top and what are they doing. And at least the things that I can see is that these guys are tan, these guys are jacked, they're in really, really good shape. They have good gear. So like, that's the thing that I try to replicate. Now I'm trying to look like a WWE superstar, or at least what I think one looks like. So just doing those things on a consistent basis and then just hustling and grinding, every single day.
What's the lifting routine looking like?
6 days a week. I have to allow myself one rest day at least because, obviously it's good for your body to rest. That's how you grow. So only 6 days a week. Otherwise, I would do every single day. If
you got that drive. I believe it.
Yeah. Once it becomes consistency, then it just becomes like second nature for you. So, but yeah, lifting 6 days a week, and I pretty much break it up into 4 different days that I do. So, just hitting different muscle groups of my body over 4 days, and then restarting it over. So
that's fantastic.
And then cardio every single day too. So,
but again, it's just not just physically, but just talking to you 6 months ago, I also feel like you're just a different person. There's a confidence there that I feel like just continues to grow with you when you're making a name for yourself like this. Because as you say, you don't need to tell people what you're doing, right? People just know, and I can attest to that. People know your name in the industry. People know you as the guy who puts in the work, as the guy who's asking the questions, as the guy who's staying late, he's learning more, as the guy who's actually turning to the guy next to him saying, "Hey, I heard this tip. Check this out. I've heard you." I mean, you're doing that with everything. You've done it to me when we're sitting and doing stuff. I mean, I've got to lock up with you. It's great. That was honestly one of my most surreal moments between you and Nick Pride, getting to go do that. It was so much fun. Just you two giving me some pointers on there. But to bring it all full circle, man, I love what I've been seeing on you, right? We're going to keep pushing you on this show because, again, we love Rage. We're Rage fans. We're also Icarus fans, though. Okay? So I'm going to ask you right here. You got any words for your fellow former friend before we have him on the show, before we have to say our goodbyes? I'm going to give you a little platform. Rage, creator of chaos. Camera's all yours. Give the world what they need to hear.
I will say this about Icarus, and it's not what you think. I am a friend of Icarus, and I do wish the best for him, and I do want him to push me and me him as well. So I look at the long term of things, and we can have a match. You can punch me in the face. You can put thumbtacks into my body. You can put scars on my body. I don't care. My reaction is going to be the reaction of the moment. But our deep-rooted history, I know that me and him are going to be good friends for a while, and I'm more than happy to tear the flesh off of his body more times than I can count. So,
well, let's hope when I interview Icarus, he has the same
that's
kind of
my
words
love
to say.
language is violence.
Well, I think it might be his too, and Emily's. Their engagement photos say it all.
Yep.
All right. Well, Mr. Rage, always a pleasure to have on this show. I am so excited to keep watching you. I'm excited for next weekend. People, please tune in. Follow us on Facebook and everything we're doing. We're gonna be dropping some Rage promos this week. I'm super excited just to be able to work with this guy for a little bit. And I think we're gonna end it right there, Mr. Rage. You head on out. You get to the gym right now. I need to make sure I see you get that win. All right. Don't get soft on me. All right, brother. Peace.